So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm just busy after church cleaning my house, and I'm getting rid of all the stuff that the Lord has been leading me to get rid of, because I want new and I want fresh, and I feel like that's what He's leading me to. But I keep talking. I'll link the video in my community tab, so if you can go to my community page, and I'll link the video of this girl that was talking about what the reason why I'm decluttering and cleaning out all the stuff in my townhouse here. So basically, she's saying that, like, whenever you live somewhere, like, and he has done this with me, but like in a different way. But so I've been smelling like a weird smell in my house, and I'm just like, there's something in here, like, I don't know if somebody planted something in here, I don't know. Anyway, so I'll link that, and I want you guys to go watch it and see if you can get something out of it too, because I'm really discerning, like this girl. And I know women have like this natural thing that we do, is like we could feel and sense and like know things, right? So anyway, this is the real part of why I wanted to make this video. So I'm cleaning like this, and so the CPS had stepped in. They took my kids temporarily, placed them with my mom. It doesn't matter. It's God. God is gonna work it out for my good. But so my son, he was in football here, and he only got to play one game, and he was playing, like, going to all his practices, and he made it to all of his practices, and like, coach liked him, and he was doing good, he was fast, all of these things, right? And so whenever CPS stepped in and took them and placed them with my mom, she lives about 20 miles out of town, and I live right next door to the school. It doesn't even really matter where I live or what. But they didn't take him to his games. They didn't facilitate his practices, and now the season is already over. So I was really mad, and I was really upset. And then I was like, God, like, because whenever this happened, I didn't understand. And like I said, like, when things happen, then you kind of have to like hone into Jesus and say, like, well, what's going on? Like, what is really, truly, what is this about? So, like, it got me upset that my son didn't get to finish out his football season, and my other son being in football, I didn't even get to go to any of his games. And I don't know if they're done with their season or what, but it made me happy, because for once in this life, like, my kids are coming up in age now, and so now, like, I want to be involved with their games, and I don't care if my distant relatives want to be involved, which it doesn't really matter. I think that we're just kind of, anyway, it doesn't even matter. But so I was upset, right? God truly does care about the things that we care about. And it's crazy because, like, this world and society and demons within people will make us feel like our feelings are so insignificant whenever God is watching. He sees, he knows, and it makes sense, right? Like, she put her son in football. I had to close doors on all his friends in order to keep him home, to keep him eating. I got him on a healthy diet. We were taking calcium pills, like, all of these things, like, for his mental health and for everything that was going good, right? I barely get a job, and then boom, they were taken. And then then it just like was like scrambled up from there, and I had to go get a different perspective on everything that I was going through, and which I do still have. But anyway, this thing with the sports thing really did affect me. It got me angry, and like, like, I believe in breaking generational curses, and what that means to me is, like, we are kind of like considered like minority because we are, like, what I mean? We're considered poor, minority, whatever, but that doesn't mean that God is not going to give you wealth. I have the hope that God is going to give me wealth at his time, at the proper time, so I'm not rushing it, and I'm not crying around. I'm just trying to stay content in my circumstances that are right here, right now. So So, and then me being upset because he didn't even finish out his season. He didn't get that last bit of practice up under his belt for him to actually feel good about himself, to feel good about his future, you know? And so I was just like I'm upset, but I'm not saying anything to anyone. It's just like, you know, my thoughts and everything. And I'm like, whenever I get to analyzing everything, I'm like, okay, well, that just went his, you know, his football, whatever. So I go to church today, and I love how God ties everything together. Like, okay, so I went to church today, and I'm sitting there, and this guy, he's a good church guy. Anyway, so he comes over and we're talking about, he's showing me his son that's in basketball. He's showing me all these pictures of his college and all of his stuff and all of these things, right? And so anyway, I didn't think anything, and I was thinking like I wasn't like, why is he showing me this? I wasn't like that. I was just kind of like looking at the pictures, and you know, I was like, wow, I was like, that must be like his glory, you know, because they say like, you know, your children are supposed to be like your glory, you know. Like, and that's why I know it's important, the way you raise your kids, how you treat your kids, the way you raise them, the things that you stand for, it all will be, whenever they grow up, they're going to be a pillar of what you instilled in them, right? So I was like, wow, like he's really proud of his son. And I was like, that's really cool. Like they get to travel and do all these basketball things, right? So I don't think anything, right? Then so church is over, and I come back home and I watch the video. I'll post it in my community tab, but go watch it because you might get something out of it. Because this is how I discern things, like about like where I live and like how things are going. And like, I'm just like this and that and this and that, you know. And so, and smells, like certain smells, there's like a smell in here, but it's going to be removed, and we're going to get it all out of here. But anyway, and we're going to sanctify this home for the Lord. But anyway, so long story short, I'm cleaning my walls upstairs, and I'm like, you know, I'm cleaning like or like, you know, using the mopping the walls. And these thoughts, I was thinking about, you know, like my kids and him missing all the football and everything like that, me not even getting to go see my other son play, you know, whatever. So and then I was like, I this thought just came to me, and I was like, Jesus, do you care about like kids being in sports and all that? Is that something that you care about? And he just like flashed the guy at church showing me those pictures, and I was like, holy crap. Like, yes, he does. Yes, he does care about your children going into sports. And yes, he's involved in all of that. You know what I mean? Like, and for people to make other people feel so insignificant in how they think and what they feel and how they are and stuff, that's on you. But me, like, I knew and I knew some more, and I'm so grateful because this is how God speaks. Like, let's say that he had not showed me those pictures, like he just was like, you know, I ain't gonna show her those or whatever. He whipped out his phone, he started showing me all the college, the basketball, the tournaments, the trophies, you know, all of that, the traveling, all of that stuff. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, okay. So then the preacher gets up there, he's like doing the sermon and stuff, and then I come home and I'm like, you know, thinking about all these things, and like these things are rolling through my brain. And I was like, Lord, do you care about like sports and stuff? But it's a part of breaking the generational curse, because I was never in sports. My friends were trying to get me to come be in sports with them. And I think I went to like one volleyball game, and then I dropped out of there. And then I went to one basketball game, practice, and it was like so like tedious, and it was so too much, and I just wasn't dedicated enough to apply myself. So then I never did. But I want the opposite for all of my kids. I want them to all be in sports. I want them to get good grades. I want them to care about themselves, take care of themselves. And now, anyway, we're not going to get into all the problems, but yeah. So that's just how God speaks. That's how he cares about what we care about, no matter how people and their opinions and the way that they are. You can't let them affect you and how you do things. And that's why, to tie this message all together, you cannot be one with the people that you came from. if they don't practice or live or do the things that you believe in and you know to be right, you have to separate. And it doesn't mean that you hate them. It doesn't mean that you just, just loathe the hell out of them. No, I close the door on you because I have this life to live and I don't want to live it with you, you know? And that may sound mean or harsh, but that's the way it has to be, because if it was up to them, your life wouldn't go nowhere and you wouldn't do anything and your kids would never become anything, you know? And so I refuse that and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. And so that's just the way God speaks, know that he cares about like you and your kids and how you're raising them and the good job that you're going to do. But I want to get out of this area just because people have already shown who they are and you cannot try to, paint over those colors. You just have to choose Jesus in the process. And so that's all I have. And know that God cares about what you care about. And he is, in every little detail, every little aspect of your life. So yeah, bye.